Are you familiar with building high-end luxury new?
Because that's what you would put here, right?
That's exactly what you would put here.
What does a deal in Houston look like? What's an average deal? There's a lot of suburbs of Houston. There's a lot of different things that you need to know. We are in the city of Bel Air. And so tell me a little bit about Bel Air so that people understand the city itself.
Sure. So Bel Air is not a suburb because we're in town, but it's a very, very high-end, popular neighborhood in the city of Houston. Some of the best school districts in the city, which is what we're in, which is what makes it so desirable. And we're close to everything. If you're familiar with Houston, you're close to the Galleria, to downtown, you're close to the medical center, so you're very close to a lot of big places in town. So this little background, she has 3 lots. Well, I say lots because we're in Bel Air. Yeah, that's really what's the value. So the land, I mean, shoot, we have it under contract at $290, which is basically land value. Which, if it was same size lot, but it was right there, it'd be like $375, $400
Just because of the traffic.
And that's what, $100,000 more than the median home value in all of Houston.
Yeah.
So just to give you an idea of how valuable the dirt is here. Now, if you were going to flip the house and sell it retail, it still needs to be very nice. You're probably going to sell that in the $600,000-$700,000 range.
Oh wow!
But it would also still need.
It's not going to be this one.
It ain't going to be this house.
Not for
right?
$600,000 or $700,000.
You're going to almost do a semi-new build.
Right.
You might leave a couple walls in the foundation, and that's about it.
Now, would it make sense to turn this into a rental? If you wanted to kind of thread the needle, or no?
Depends on the strategy. So I would say if you're looking to just dump some money into real estate,
right,
pay cash for this, and just let it ride on the appreciation upside, and you're not so concerned about the cash flow.
And you may not know about construction. You may not. This may be something that you know the value's going up,
right,
but you go, I don't want to take on building a new property.
Right.
What would this rent for? Just out of curiosity.
If you fixed everything up, this would maybe rent for the size $2,500.
Would it make sense to turn this into a rental? If you wanted to kind of thread the needle?
Okay. So if you're talking about buying it for $325, putting 50, 60 grand into it and then renting it out, it's not meeting the 2% rule. It's not even going to meet the 1% rule.
Right.
So
this would be more of an appreciation long-term play. It's going to be negative geared, meaning you're going to lose money on a monthly basis, but it's going to be going up in value that you could just sit and wait. And in 10 years from now, you don't know what it's going to be worth. You can turn around and flip it. You can do all that stuff. So the goal here is when you see these deals, you can do a lot of things with them. And you got to be able to identify different options.
Sure.
And your experience is what's going to tell you that. What you don't want to do is go down a path of something that you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
And all of a sudden, now you put yourself in a bad position.
Right.
So, again, the key today that we want to show you when we walk through these properties is if we were going to turn this into a rental property, what would we do? What are the things that we would fix? And then we're going to show you some numbers and we're going to walk through those as well. So let's go on inside and take a look. All right, everyone, so we're inside this house. It's a 1,200 square foot house, which is very common for a property in this area of town for an older property, in Houston. And it looks like, we'll go in there, but it looks like they converted the garage. Now, just standing here, I can feel the foundation.
Oh, yeah.
You can feel that, obviously on the video you can't see it, but you can feel that there is a slight foundation.
Sure.
Having a foundation issue is not a big deal. It's something that can be fixed with pier and beam and pillars and all that stuff. But just know that it could be a cost that you need to be prepared to spend the money on. So this is clearly where the garage was converted. Yeah, they got a bathroom there too.
They do.
And you're right, there are a lot of houses that do this. The challenge is the insulation of these. This is finished, so they may have insulated it correctly.
Got a lot of rodent.
Yeah, there's a lot of rodent-friendly droppings in here.
Yep.
So,
and there's clearly been some moisture in here from something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't think it was from flooding because this area didn't really flood. But there's evidence of moisture everywhere. If you look in this closet, you can see a little bit of moldy stuff. So you're going to want to identify the source of where that moisture came from so that you can eradicate it at the source.
And one thing to note, especially here in Houston, is you may have standing water on the outside. Now, if this was just a garage, it may not be as big of a concern.
Correct.
And the standing water may not be flowing. Maybe it's clogged out there, or maybe they need a French drain or something. So again, there may be some bigger issues here, and maybe I have some drainage issues now.
just like the tree outside with the foundation, when you see that, you should, okay, now I know I need to go find this water source.
Yeah, red flags, exactly. All right, let's go into the kitchen here. What do we got?
Yeah, so obviously, no matter what we do, we're probably gonna do a whole new kitchen in here.
I would say so,
The appliances aren't good. Your cabinets are kind of busted up. I mean, you're gonna tear this place apart for sure.
Yeah, this is definitely.
Looking in here, I think I found a source of some water. We've got a big old roof leak, and you can feel how soft the subfloor is here from the water just pouring in here. Yep. So let's see. Oh yeah, you can see how wet the subfloor got.
Yeah. And let's take a look at this room. So this is a standard room here in Houston. I noticed though that they've got the central AC and then they've got window units.
Look, we're in Houston. It gets really hot down here. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I did notice we have more than just this one. So that would lead me to believe that more than likely the AC probably wasn't working very well.
I agree.
And that's why they have it. So I bet when we go find the condenser unit, it's gonna be super old.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's go take a look.
Yeah. When you're looking at ACs, there's a few things. A lot of times it's the eye test is pretty sufficient. And this, I don't know about you, but that doesn't pass my eye test.
Yeah, that
right?
would be.
So like we talked about with the window units inside the bedrooms, this is a good indicator that they put the window units in lieu of replacing the entire AC system.
Yeah. So now we're walking through, this is a type of Jack and Jill here.
Yep.
And this is
another bedroom.
Yeah.
I guess they had it as an office, but you know, you got this wood paneling, which if this was me, I'm probably gonna pull this down, put sheetrock up, paint it all the same color. That way it flows better.
So this is like basically a deck. You don't see these out here very often.
It's because it's super hot, so a lot of times you're not even gonna see.
You'll need a sunroom.
It's
like a little
awesome
spa.
hot tub.
Nice, that is sweet.
Yep. I would
Lounge chairs.
no matter what I did with this house, I would rip this off. Whether I'm renting it or not.
Yeah.
Leave the flooring, the deck, and then rip everything off and just make this like a little nice like outdoor sitting area or something.
Now, one of the things you got to realize too about these, we'll talk about the electrical box here, is that a lot of times you get this property, you turn it into a rental. The renters move in and they have every TV, everything you can imagine, and it starts blowing breakers all the time.
Oh yeah.
And then what happens is once you go to get an electrician out here, you find out that it's not up to code.
Yep.
And then you got to spend a lot of money rewiring this thing to bring it to code. So let's take a look. Let's just see what this box is. Now, they've got a pool here, so maybe it is more current. Yeah, see, there's not many breakers in there, so there's going to be some major rewiring to this house. It's not up to code, guaranteed.
You got a separate federal, I think it's a Federal Pacific electric box, which is definitely not up to code.
Yeah, exactly.
So if I'm walking the property and I'm budgeting to, at the very least, get new breaker panels put in. Maybe even a new rewire, and then I would have an electrician come out and verify that for me.
All right, Matt, so we just walked the property, and again, this is an older property, and we knew it was going to be one or the other. It was either going to be something that you could rehab and turn into a rental, or it's going to be something that you're going to tear down and turn into something that you would totally build a new one. Now, we went through, we obviously see that there's potential mold issues, right, in the garage. We saw that there's foundation issues. We know that for a fact. There's wiring and electrical issues. There's air conditioning issues, and there's a lot of stuff that's not up to code that we don't even know.
Right.
In my opinion, something like this is a deal that we would basically tear down and totally level and build a new house. What are your thoughts?
I agree completely. That's the best use of this property from an exit strategy perspective. You got big ticket items, you got big liability items, especially from a renter's perspective.
Yeah.
Like we talked about at the beginning, it's already not the best return from a rental because of how high of a value the property is.
Yeah.
So all signs are telling me that this is 100% best use to tear down, build a big, beautiful house, start from scratch, and then and sell that property.
Yeah. So for those of you watching, this is a great example that you could get a good deal, and this is a great deal in a great area, but know that you may have to audibilize once you see it. Now, you can still make a lot of money on this.
Sure.
And you can turn this into making a nice property and get a great return, but you've got to have the eyes for it. And you've got to look at this, and while these seem like unsurmountable challenges, you have a different exit strategy. And that's why you want to have multiple exits.
That's right.
So that when you see a deal like this, you say, okay, I can't do this, but I can do that.
Right.
And that's what we wanted to learn. So this house is definitely something that you want to tear down, rebuild up, and then you can decide what you want to do with it as far as, you know, selling it. I'm guessing this would be more of a retail sale, right?
Correct.
So we're just down the street from the other house that we just saw that obviously we decided was going to be a demo. We were going to get rid of the house. So we are standing in front of a house. Same owner owns this house, and this is a house that somebody did decide to demo.
She actually did
it
herself.
Okay, she did it. So this house was built in 2015?
2015, it's about 5,200 square feet.
Okay, all right. And what are the numbers? Like what would this house sell for? I noticed that it's on a busy street as well.
Yes.
Same actual street.
Same actual street.
And it's on the corner, so that would affect the price. So give me some numbers so that people can understand that.
Sure. So one, it is a 2015 build versus a brand new build.
Right.
But the problem is, since there's so much new construction activity here, that you're going to compete against 2019, 2020 builds, etc.
Exactly.
So when we've been talking pricing with her, if this was one house over, we would probably target a list price of about 1.2, 1.25, whereas a new build would probably go for about 1.4-ish. Okay, for the same size. However, since we're on the corner, on a main road, then we've been talking in the 999 to 1.05. And we think that's really the target price. To put in perspective, there's about 5 or 6 houses down on the same street, built in 2015, 2016, very similar size, and it's listed at 1.3. It's been on the market for about 200 days.
Oh, wow.
So if they're not getting 1.3 for their 2015, 2016, there's no way we can try to get the same price being on the corner.
Now, and again, if you look at the numbers, if you look at that house, 315, and you could basically, if you had to guess, what would you say a cost on building would be for this?
You're going to spend anywhere from probably $500,000 to $750,000 to build this.
Okay, so you're going to be in this for one.
Yeah.
If you did that. So
Right.
those numbers.
This is why I would not be building new, because I don't have the network and the trades to be able to get it done.
That's retail. You're paying retail, yeah.
Now, if you can get it done for $500 because you've been in the business, you have quality trades with long-term relationships, now all of a sudden
you got some margins there.
You got some margin there.
So this house, this is a 5,200 square foot house. You can see that it's all brick. It's right in line with all the other properties on the street. So this is basically what the end result would be if you tore down that house and did that. And again, remember, having it on a corner will cost you money.
It will cost you money. Just to put in perspective, some of the builders we've been talking to about the lot on the corner, they have told us that, man, if this was one house over, I'd be paying you $375, maybe even $400 for that piece of property.
Really?
But since it's on the corner, I'm thinking more like $300, $310 for the property.
And understand that a lot of these cities like Bel Air there's an area in Houston called the Heights.
Correct.
And the Heights went through this where they would go and they would start tearing stuff down and they would build verticals.
Yes.
So they would build the Victorian style and they would just go vertical because there wasn't a lot of room. Here, there's a lot of room, so they can make the houses much bigger.
Yep.
And obviously the prices reflect that, but you see this in a lot of cities that you're getting rebuilds and regentrification and all that kind of stuff. So this is not uncommon.
Right.
This now is just what people are starting to realize and experience by doing this, right?
Yep.
So one of the things, again, you want to realize is that now you can actually visualize what you would do with the house that was a tear down, that you would tear down and build up, and what would that look like? So you always want to know, what is the end product? Well, you can drive around a neighborhood and you can see what the end product is.
Yeah, you can take one drive down this street alone and just see what you're going to compete against. And there's a lot of stuff that is just absolutely drop dead gorgeous.
Now, just case in point, the owner who owns this also owns that house that's right across the street.
That's correct.
So that is the before and after.
That's right.
Hopefully this helps everyone understand that, you know, sometimes you can get a deal out of it. You can do something.
Being able to understand and think through it, even if you're not somebody who's building new, but you can think the way a builder would think about this, all of a sudden the door opens up to an opportunity that you would have closed the door on previously.
Make sure you like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel.